It had taken her years to get pregnant, and now, her sister and herself were at the hospital waiting to give birth. Both could not believe what was happening. They were going to give birth to twins on the same very day. Little did everyone else know, these two sisters had it all planned out.
Before we begin, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to our channel, and click the notification bell for more amazing videos.
After more than 5 years of trying to start a family with help from a variety of expensive fertility treatments, Annie and Joby Johnson were close to giving up. After one round of these treatments, their hopes were high, and they thought they would get a call that would change their lives forever. Luckily, the call did come, but it was not the news they wanted to hear. Annie and her sister, Chrissy, have always been close, two peas in a pod. Still, Annie was not handling not getting pregnant very well and asked her family for support emotionally. They gave it to her and were by her side when all treatments failed, but still, she was waiting for that one phone call. In 2008 we tried, in 2009 also, in 2010 was the in vitro, and on paper, everything looked great, but we got the phone call with the bad news that I was not pregnant after that round. And that was the hardest call ever to receive, Annie stated in an interview. She could not handle more bad news, so she decided that if life was not going to let her have children, that she was destined not to have any. She was so very wrong. Annie was devastated. She had always wanted a family and could not conceive. When the in vitro cycle failed, her sister, Chrissy, made her an interesting proposition. "If there was just anything I could do to help, I would do it," Chrissy said. Still, Annie could not let her sister go to all that trouble. Or could she? Chrissy had a family of her own, 2 beautiful sons and a loving husband. She had had no significant complications in either of her sons' births. It was clear she was able to carry children successfully. Sadly, her sister could not. In an interview with Daily Mail UK, Chrissy said that no one should have to deal with anything like that, especially her sister. What scheme were these two planning? By chance and luck, Annie decided to give it one last shot. A doctor placed 2 embryos in her to see if there would be any luck. And there was. Not just that, but her sister Chrissy was pregnant too. Both sisters could not believe it. It was a dream come true. But, what a coincidence, right? The day of the ultrasounds came, and they gasped as the doctor shared the news. "They found one in me and then they moved over and saw another little sac with another flickering heartbeat, and we knew that we still had Chrissy left to go." Sure enough, both Annie and Chrissy were pregnant with twins. As Chrissy had gone through the whole process before, she decided she would let her dear sister be in the spotlight the entire time. It was an incredibly special moment for Annie as she had been trying for 5 whole years. But that was not the craziest thing of it all. A couple of days later, Chrissy went into labor and their secret sister pact was about to unravel. Chrissy went into labor one day and could not have been more excited to see her twins. Tears rolled down her face as the doctors held her baby for her to see. She couldn't contain her emotions. Now her family was growing fast. Annie was by her side the whole time Chrissy was in the hospital, but when Chrissy had already given birth, Annie noticed something happening inside of her. She thought that it might just have been nerves as the whole day was filled with excitement and enthusiasm. But she was wrong. Those were not nerves. As she sat in the sidelines waiting for her sister to recover, a sharp pain jolted her up from her seat. "This can't be happening," she thought as she went to get a doctor. Sure enough, Annie was in labor too. Both sisters gave birth to 2 sets of twins on the very same day. Not just that, but Chrissy gave birth to 2 beautiful boys, and Annie gave birth to 2 incredible girls. 4 gorgeous babies came into the world that day, but when it was time for visitation, the sisters' father looked at them and demanded answers. After the round of the failed in vitro, Chrissy had an idea. She approached Annie with a proposal. She would be their surrogate if they wanted to give it one more try. At first, Annie was shocked, but after a long hard thinking session, both Annie and Joby agreed. When Chrissy went to the doctor to get the 2 embryos placed, Annie trailed along. As luck would have it, Annie was also on her cycle and the doctor placed 2 embryos inside of Annie as well as Chrissy. The sisters had no idea their plan would work, so they decided to keep it hushed. When the day came that both sisters went into the labor the same day, they knew that all 4 babies were Annie's. She was so emotional and overwhelmed she couldn't even keep it at bay. "Trying to get at least one baby, we are just so excited to take all 4 of them home and they're all healthy," Annie told Daily Mail UK. Annie had been planning for a baby for such a long time that the thought of quadruplets was jaw-dropping. Still, she was ecstatic. Chrissy remembers what she said to Annie on the day she proposed her brilliant idea. I didn't know if I could even be a surrogate or care for the baby, but I did some research and found out I would be able to do so, and put it out there just as a consideration for the future. If it ended up that Annie was not able to carry a baby, then that is what was preventing them from having a child, then I would do that for them. When Joby Johnson, the dad of all 4 babies, heard about the proposition from Chrissy, he could not believe how lucky they were. I remember saying the day when Dr. Williams told us that we have a possibility of having 2 twin pregnancies, we said, "Doctor, was ready for a new problem. We have not been able to get pregnant for 5+ years. If that is the outcome of this, if 2 twin pregnancies mean quadruplets, then bring it on," Joby stated. All 4 babies, Charlie, Tommy, Gracie, and Hattie, came into the world healthy as could be. These little bundles of joy are going to have too much fun growing up, and one day their parents will tell them about the crazy story that started their lives. But in the meantime, they will enjoy each and every baby every single day. Annie and Joby could not believe their luck when their in vitro cycle came out positive, and just when they had given up. This family is 1 in a million, and their story can't be more incredible. If you enjoyed this story, wait for our next story starting in 10 seconds. Joey and Kirsten Maschantonio were elated to welcome their baby girl, Gianna, into the world. But this joy was quickly stripped from them as Gianna was diagnosed with a dire condition at only 4 weeks old. Joey knew there was only one hope for his baby girl. She needed to be taken to the Pope. But this desire in itself was riddled with complications. However, Joey knew he had to try, and thankfully, he did. The Maschantonios were a happy, devoutly Catholic family. The couple was thrilled when they found out Kirsten was pregnant. They had been trying for a child for a while. And so, the news was incredible, to say the least. When she was born, baby Gianna was the picture of beauty to her parents. They could not believe their blessings as they held the tiny miracle in their arms. But little did they know, this happiness would soon be short-lived. The first 4 weeks the couple spent with Gianna were sheer bliss. They could not believe how perfect she was. She seemed to be a blessing baby as she hardly fussed. At 4 weeks, the couple took Gianna back to the hospital for her visit. But on this visit, their lives would change dramatically. And it all began with the doctor asking them if they were aware of any hereditary illnesses within either family. The Maschantonios never realized that something was peculiar about their baby. To the naked eye, Gianna looked to be the vision of health. But shortly after birth, doctors took a look at the infant. And they did not like what they saw at all. The family's doctor's heart sank. He had no idea how to tell the new parents what he had just discovered. But he knew that he had to do so, and quickly. Doctors informed the Maschantonios that Gianna had juvenile xanthogranula, JXG. This is a skin disorder which occurs in children under 1. The child will grow tumors around their head and neck. But Gianna was a rare case. Her tumor had developed on her brainstem. Gianna's central nervous system was beginning to be affected by the tumor as well. And the doctors advised the couple to begin to make arrangements for Gianna's funeral. Amazingly, baby Gianna made it through her first 15 months of life. The baby had undergone numerous chemotherapy treatments in order to shrink the tumor. And it appeared to be working. But only for so long. The doctors could not give any solid proof that Gianna would survive. But one day, Joey saw something that made him flip. The Pope was coming to America. Joey knew what he had to do. Upon hearing Pope Francis would be visiting Philadelphia, the Maschantonios were elated. This was within driving distance of their home. But doubt quickly settled in. They were unsure of whether they would be able to present Gianna to His Holiness. The Catholic community would surely be out in full force that day. But then, the couple received a phone call of reassurance. The phone call that would change their child's life forever. The Maschantonios had a friend in high places. Donnie Asper was a close friend of the family's. He was also an FBI agent put on Pope security detail for his Philly trip. Donnie knew of the plight of Gianna. As such, he gave the Maschantonios a call one afternoon and encouraged them to attend the procession. However, even with his assurance, Joey had reservations he was not sharing with his wife. Joey wasn't sharing everything with his wife. Deep down, he was riddled with suspicion surrounding the day. He did not know if taking his ill daughter into the crowded, hot streets of Philadelphia was the wisest choice. It was far to travel with their terminally ill child. But when he expressed his concerns to the medical staff, they convinced him otherwise. As such, the Maschantonios packed up and shipped off to Philly. Remarkably, the couple made their way to Philly in record time. A trip on highly congested roads that would normally take them an hour at best took them only 30 minutes. But the blessings continued to flow. As they arrived, the couple found a prime parking spot, something that is unheard of in busy cities. But the pair were even more surprised by the incredible spot they landed along the parade procession. They were front and center. And then, the most incredible thing occurred. Head of security for the day, Domenico Gianni, was scoping the crowd at the right time. As he scanned the perimeter, he noticed the little girl hoisted into the air. He stopped the proceeding and approached the parents. Domenico took Gianna in his arms and gently took her to the Pope. He raised the baby to the pontiff. The Pope tenderly kissed the baby's forehead, and she was returned to her parents. Then the miracles began to flow. Days after encountering Pope Francis, the family made their way to another of Gianna's chemo sessions. Post being kissed by the Pope, Gianna received 2 further treatments. The little trooper seemed to be hanging in there. Then it was time for her MRI. The scans were run on the infant's brain to see how her tumor had developed. But what doctors saw defied any logical explanation they could fathom. Upon reviewing her MRI results, doctors were utterly baffled by what they saw. Gianna's tumor had almost disappeared completely. It was nothing more than a haze on the MRI results. The medical team could not understand what they were seeing. It was as though they had scanned a completely different baby. And when they shared the news with Kirsten and Joey, the couple were amazed. But there was even better news to follow. The doctors then shared Gianna's prognosis with the Mischantonios. And they could not believe what they were hearing. Initially, when diagnosed, they were told their baby girl had only a few days to live. Weeks at best. And now, the doctors said Gianna would live on to lead a healthy, normal life. The pair could not believe what they were hearing. And they had only one thing to say when asked what they thought of her recovery. The couple can't explain how their child was healed. The only thing they attribute her recovery to is her encounter with Pope Francis. One little girl who had been diagnosed as terminally ill left doctors amazed. And the only thing that had happened was she had received a kiss from His Holiness. The couple is even firmer believers now than before. And Gianna is a true, walking miracle.